Now moving on to the seriousness of the issue here, we have to acknowledge that the issue which was only a conflict between the Assamese and the Bengalis now had to get the color of communalism. The communal color has been added for the Assam and the Bengalis domination or the internal policy or the outsiders and the local people issue. Now it became as a communal color of Hindu-Muslim agitation, because most of the outsiders who came from the Bengal region are settled Muslims of the Bangladesh region. And as we moved on here, the issue later turned on into an incident of anti-Bengali agitation. Later, because the most of the languages which are brought, or the dominant language which is dominating the local Assamese language, was the Bengali language. Now, in order to get the anti-Bengali feeling, later on it developed into a anti-non-Assamese movement. The Assamese are not supported, so they brought it to the anti-non-Assamese movement. Later on they brought the entire communal color, the outsider, the local issue. Let it emerge into anti-Bengali concept, then into anti-non-Assamese level. Now finally they came into an issue called anti-India government. So now they are asking that they will need a separate state or a separate community for them to entitle themselves in a separate region, not under the control of an Indian or under the control of a Bangla people. Now, during this period, the young and the dynamic leader who came to power at that moment of time, Indira Gandhi, was assassinated. Rajiv Gandhi took over the leadership of the Congress and the leadership of the nation. With the sympathy of Indira Gandhi's death, he got the majority of votes, and Rajiv Gandhi, with the agreement of All India Assam Students Union in 1984, tried to solve it, made a peace treaty with them, and conducted elections by breaking the present existing government. And then we got the AGP party into power, that is called Assam Gana Parishad. This Assam Gana Parishad emerged as a new political power in the region of Assam region. Now, is the issue solved now? What happened for it? To understand the concept very clearly, we have to understand the issue that in Assam region we have the many tribal people, because 90% of Assam is covered with the forest region supplied by the water of Brahmaputra rivers. Now, there are four major tribal communities, people like Bodos, Khasis, Mizos and the Karbis. These are the major tribal community people existing in the Assam region. At this point of time, either the issue was not completely solved, the Bengalis and as well as the Assamese, but they started to give special importance for the Assami people, and these community, tribal community people started to eliminate the other tribal community people, because they started to consider that if only we remain here, automatically the others could not remain here. So they started to kill the people of the tribal communities or force them to leave the regions. So these Bodos or the Khasis or the Mizos or the Karbis people started to move on by killing them, by making them to get afraid, by making them to get scared, to make the other tribal community people to move on or to leave the place and shift to the other regions. So in order to maintain the internal politics to be cool, or in order to reduce the tensions, the government took one more negative step, that is that if suppose Bodos are fighting with some of the tribal groups called X group, then automatically the Assam Gana Parishad government gave support for the Khasis or the Mizos or some other tribal community, was made active by the government itself by supplying arms and weapons for them in order to fight with them. So the tensions continued further and further. Finally, it was a region where it is an adjacent position where we have the China boundary there, where Indian land sharing boundary with China. We have an issue of Dalai Lama security point of view. Later, we had the region of Arunachal Pradesh region where Dalai Lama's shelter was being incepted, and we also have the Bhutan region, another nation, and then we have the Bangladesh issue. And we can't close the boundary of Bangladesh because of the difficult or the terrain conditions, because of the hilly slope regions where completely we can't block the boundaries. At that point of time, Bengalis used to come using that kind of boundaries which are open for them, or used to use the natural gaps which cannot be filled by the government. And this point of time, Indian government took it very seriously, because the agitation which was started between Assamese and Bengalis, which turned into local people and outsiders, which will rather turn into communal color of Hindus and Muslims, later it turned into anti-Bengali agitation, then into anti-non-Assamese agitation. Now further it is moving on into anti-India, and they are asking separate state for them. So it means that they need a separate country, and we in the key position of the adjacent, where we have three countries sharing boundaries here, and there are many internal issues to be solved. So the Indian army was deployed there and given the special status of powers, finally to curb some of the powers of the people of Assam, to make sure and ensure that everybody lives peacefully. The army has walked in, marched in, and brought a strong stable system here, and some of the free fundamental rights are being violated here, or special powers has been given to the army in the Assam region to maintain internal security here, because it is covering a region of Bhutan national security, India's national security with China, and also the Bangladesh issue. So the central government has walked in. Earlier it was a small insight of Bengali versus the Assamese. Later it turned into an international conflict, and where the tensions are always high. This was another major issue which was dealt by the democratic government of India in a successful manner. Even today the army in the Assam region has got some special privileges, in not in the other regions, only in the northeastern region. Now we shall move on to the another important and the key factor where we lost the favorite dynamic woman of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. What are the steps, or what is the issue that raised her to lose her life? We'll discuss it soon.